Hello, everyone. My name is EJ Schultz, news editor at Ad Age, and welcome to the latest edition of Ad Age Remotely. On today's episode, we are going to catch up with two people who are very connected with Ryan Reynolds, who is, of course, the actor who has caught the ad world by storm in the last several years. So welcoming to the screen is Aron North, who is the CMO of Mint Mobile, the wireless brand co-owned by Ryan Reynolds, and George Dewey, co-founder of marketing agency Maximum Effort, which is, of course, is also tied to Ryan Reynolds. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining me today. We're going to spend a lot of today talking about the marketing of Mint Mobile and what role Ryan Reynolds has played in that, as well as hopefully walk away with some larger marketing lessons for anyone tuning in. And in that vein, Aron, I want to start with you. You've been involved in Mint Mobile before Ryan Reynolds took an ownership stake in late 2019. So tell us, how has Ryan Reynolds changed Mint Mobile?
Well, I mean, the changes are pretty dramatic and pretty immediate, right? So we're a direct-to-consumer brand, and we've spent many years before Ryan joined the company building the foundation and the principles of a D2C brand. So we had built all the measurement, all the analytics, we have our media program. And then Ryan joined in November of 2019. And the way we like to talk about it is we had a rocket ship. We just added more fuel, or a new type of fuel that took us to the stratosphere with his addition. It's been really incredible to watch the brand grow as a result of the combining of both the D2C engine we had and the marketing prowess and reach that he brings to the table and his team brings to the table, really launched Mint into the stratosphere.
So we're going to get into some of those specifics and talk about specific campaigns in a little bit. But before we do, I want to bring George into the conversation. You co-founded Maximum Effort with Ryan Reynolds in 2018, I believe. And before that, you had been working with him on marketing the Deadpool movie. And before that, I think you had spent some time at traditional ad agencies, including McCann. Since Maximum Effort has started just 4 short years ago, it's really taken the industry by storm. You guys have done breakthrough marketing for brands like Aviation Gin, Peloton, Kraft Mac and Cheese, many others. And so much of your speed, I think, is based on speed, agility, just plugging into pop culture, getting stuff out quickly into the world. Can you explain what your secret is?
Oh boy, I don't know that we have any secret. What I'd say is what we do has evolved organically. Ryan and I worked on Deadpool together, and throughout the course of that campaign, we discovered a rhythm, which is, let's be less precious about the creative. Let's not pretend like we're not doing marketing, and let's take chances and not assume that we're the masters of creative genius. Let's take chances, have a conversation, and play the cultural landscape. And I think all we've really done is extend and expand that same process of and try to do it in the quickest way possible, because speed is important in marketing.
So when you talk about speed in marketing, can you take us behind the scenes a little bit? Like, what is it like working with Ryan, his creative mind? I've read multiple places that he likes to communicate via text message and brainstorm that way. Can either of you, I'll start with you, George. Could you explain kind of what it's like working with Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, so Ryan, one of Ryan's pivot points that he points to is when he kind of got rid of a lot of the layers around him. And even when I was a department head at Fox, I was not head of marketing. And it was surprising the extent to which, and unique, there were a few stars who were as involved in their movies as Ryan, but, Ryan knew all the department heads personally and worked with us on Deadpool to an extent that was rare, if not unique. So the first thing I'd say is like he's incredibly transparent. He's incredibly fast. He is not afraid to learn, and he has fun doing it. You can feel the fun. And Aaron's on just as many texts with. We have a text chain together, so he's just as conversant as I am on the Ryan Reynolds process.
Yeah, the fun definitely comes across in the work. Aron, for you, what is it like as a CMO working with a guy like Ryan Reynolds?
Well, I can tell you it's like nothing I've ever experienced. I spent a decade at traditional agency as well. I was at Taco Bell before this, and you go through a process when you're a big matrix company or a traditional agency. You get the inputs from the client, you create a brief, it's very formal, there's process. When we brief with this group, I brief George and Ryan, it's very much down to what is the human truth and what is the challenge we're trying to solve. And that really kicks things off. And if you can't answer it in a text message, it's not really a brief. Our core creative brief is very small by design, but we have these communications that are so quick and so rapid, you get right to the root of the issue. And I feel like having direct access to the people creating the ads, and then at the same time, understanding my role in that process is not to put my fingerprint on things. My job is to make sure that it's going to deliver the business objective, but not start to put, my rounding of corners on work. Having that understanding and working through text means we get work done incredibly fast. It's very sharp. It cuts through and it works. I mean, we do things that you could never have done anywhere else. Like just either speed or layers of approvals. You lose so much creativity in the process. This has really opened my eyes to how great creative can be when you pull a lot of the sort of ancillary pieces out of the equation.
And Mint very much, in my opinion, embraces its challenger status to the point where it's sort of a master class in challenger marketing. Obviously, you're competing in a pool that includes, the big guys like Verizon, AT&T. And I want to show a recent ad campaign that sort of shows your challenger spirit involving, of all things, Arizona iced tea. So let's play an ad from that work, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile.
And I'm Don Voltaggio, founder of Arizona Iced Tea.
Don, how much did a can of Arizona iced tea cost in 1992?
99 cents.
And how much does a can of Arizona iced tea cost today?
99 cents.
That is just absolutely incredible. Well, now we're taking that same non-inflationary tea technology and putting it into Mint Mobile. Because while Big Wireless increases their prices, Mint Mobile will continue offering premium wireless for just $15 a month.
Hey, Ryan, it doesn't work that way.
It sure doesn't, Don.
By the way, have you tried our new superhero drink?
Give me that. It's great.
Find the Mint Arizona starter pack at Target.
2 separate aisles. You'll have to do the packaging yourself.
So, guys, tell me how this ad came to be. Don Voltaggio, interesting character in the beverage world, standing next to Ryan Reynolds, who's railing about big wireless.
Go ahead, George.
I honestly don't remember. Do you remember, Aron?
Yeah. Well, so what started this really, like, if you want to go back to the client side in the brief, was that Verizon and AT&T had announced they were going to raise price, and they in fact raised price. So we created a deflation ad campaign and promotion, and that's where this started. So we started with our own sort of active, our active issue. We took issue and disruption and driving that sort of disruptive force. We were like, if you're going to inflate your prices, that's bullshit. We're going to deflate our prices. And that's what really kicked off the idea. Now, as far as Dawn and Arizona iced tea, this was maximum effort genius. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think Arizona went viral at some point in the first half of this year. But part of our process is we have a Slack channel called Powder Keg, which is just like, there's some stories that are to light a fuse on. And someone had shared the Arizona iced tea, being like, man, like inflation, mint, Arizona iced tea, and I think like the Costco hot dog was also in the mix for a second. Like they've never raised prices, but it just turned out that like the trick was actually getting to Arizona iced tea. It's a very small company, so like we had to be like, how the hell are we going to find the Voltaggio family? They're not the easiest.
But you did.
Easy, yeah. It took some doing, but
So powder keg Slack. That's kind of where you're monitoring news, current events, and kind of riffing off possible.
well, yeah. This is also the thing that led to our Chris Maloney Peloton ad where he was nude. It's like is there anything we can do with stuff that we think is just like, it just needs a little bit of kick. It's like the same analogy that Aron used. There are some things that are just waiting to be exploded with just the right kind of push to it.
And then, of course, the key of that is turning it around quickly while it's still being talked about, right? You can't have a great idea that plays into a current trend and then the work doesn't come out for another month, right? You guys are really out there right away. How do you go about that?
Well, this is purely Deadpool into aviation, Jim. This is where we've really learned to produce quickly, and we have our team is just really, really good at it, and that's through a lot of pain and practice, we've gotten good at being able to produce things in very short order. We can produce things in 48 hours. We can produce things in 96 hours, and almost all of our productions we try to do within 10 days from like, okay, we want to shoot this, and then we're shooting in 10 days. That's usually our target.
And then connect that to the media strategy, Aron. Is most of your attention that you get organic, just either using Ryan's social channels, your own social channels, getting publications like Ad Age to write about it, or do you spend a significant amount on ad buys, media buys as well?
We do both. What's happened is the business has grown and been so successful, we've been able to grow with it. So we completely understand and appreciate as a D2C brand that media is a bit of the oxygen we need to keep going. But what happens is when you have Ryan and the platform and the ability to produce creative and work like this, you don't want it out there exclusively organic, right? You want to do things to motivate once you see how the marketplace is reacting. So we do a lot of combined tactics, but yes, we do spend above the line with television, digital video, and then we do lots of mid-funnel and low-funnel work. But what's really beautiful is that there's this understanding on my side that there's an organic nature to everything we create, and we don't want to disrupt that. What we want to do is when something catches fire, we want to make sure that more people have access to it. So we just leverage our media dollars to amplify what's already happening.
I've got to ask, are you currently buying on Twitter, given what's happening there?
Social media is an interesting place for us. It's not a place where we sort of, if you read a lot about D2C brands, you could see how social really drives their business. And as CPMs have gone up, they've had challenges. When we built our business, we never built it on the backbone of social media. So whether we're advertising on Twitter or not, at this moment, we are not. It's not a big driver of growth for us. It's a component of our media mix, but it's not a critical piece. So we're very managed in social media because it tends to be a volatile platform. You just have to look at the timeline. I mean, we pulled money out of Facebook when there was Facebook for hate. We've pulled media money out of different players depending on what's going on in the marketplace. You just have to be flexible.
So are you currently not on Twitter because of Elon Musk's ownership and the controversy around that, or is it for another reason?
I think you can't look at any one single thing and say this is the exact reason. I think we're very measured in where we spend our money. We want to make sure that we're spending in places that are providing good ROAS. And as well, you've got to take into account like the larger sort of visibility of what's going on there. We'd made the decision before sort of everything went crazy to pull our spend out.
So I wanted to take a look at one more ad and talk about this. And this one involves a dog. So let's watch this one.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds. I've recently learned that Big Wireless spends a lot on political lobbying. Like, a lot. I had no idea that wireless owners were supposed to do that. So, Mint Mobile is officially contributing to the mayor of Idlewild, California. A good boy named Max. Yes, he is. We won't be contributing nearly as much because, frankly, we prefer to invest our money in stuff for you, which is why I'm announcing free data upgrades on every plan beginning January 28th. Who's in the pocket of big business? Who's in the pocket of big business? Mint Mobile, now with more bite.
So dogs in ads, nothing new. Dog mayors in ads, that's breakthrough, right?
It felt like that at the time.
He's an actual mayor. Is that true?
He was, God rest his soul. Mayor Max passed away this year. But that being said, he was corrupt as shit. Like he appeared in our ad for like literally nothing.
What was funny about that
Some
ad, you want
treats.
to talk about production, right? And speed of production. So we had to get oversized checks made, which sort of fell into my plate. And then they had to get delivered. Idlewild is, an hour and a half from my house. So I jumped in the car to go give the check to production. And they were like, no, you're in the shot. You need to hand the check to the dog. It's like, what? So, I mean, you talk about speed, right? Like those are the things where it's the substance of the story, not the spectacle, because this is the face for radio, right? Like this is not the spectacle we're looking for.
Sure. Very handsome, Aaron.
On a strategic note, however, I think one of the things I look at when I see this ad is it's playing off a political topic without getting political, right? And that's part of your secret sauce too. I think you guys, you're a fun brand, and you're never. I don't feel like you're ever at risk at offending anyone on the political spectrum, right? How do you go about that?
I think that's core to. Not core. The way we look at it when we're doing any work is we have a mission statement that's to bring people together and at maximum effort to bring people together in fun, smart, and unexpected ways. And just the politicization of everything is just so soul crushing that we really do. And this applies to our movies and TV shows as well. It's like we want to give people, reasons to hope, not reasons to despair. There's plenty of reasons to despair in 2022, and I'm guessing 2023. So even as we're touching, Ryan and I have always said we kind of dance around the third rail, but we try never to step on it.
You mentioned your work for Ryan's entertainment properties, including, Welcome to Wrexham, the very popular series based on the soccer club ownership. Can you talk about what you've learned from the entertainment side that you can apply to the brands that you work on, George?
Yeah, the biggest lesson for me is that when you walk into a production company every morning, there's no brief. There's no Paramount Pictures would like these 4 stars in a movie with this, and it's due by January. It's the reason we're a production company is the studios and our partner Paramount is what does Ryan want to make, with films with Ryan and films without Ryan? What we want to amplify his voice in particular point of view. For some reason, ad agencies don't do that, and I think they should. So when you walk into Maximum Effort that morning, yeah, we have assignments for sure, but we tend not to take the literal brief from brands. I mean, Aron and I have a separate relationship, but from brands who work with us, and more than that, everyone who works at our place is supposed to look at the cultural landscape, imagine brands as IP, and think what stories do we want to tell? And I think that's the most important shift that advertisers need to make. It's stop making the conversation about you. How can you? It's there's a conversation. It's at a cocktail party. If you just walk up and start talking about yourself, people will be fuck off, loser. But if you listen to what a conversation what conversation is happening, and like try to like, concentric circle yourself into it, you're going to have a much greater success rate.
Well, and if I can interject on that, like I can give a perfect example. So there are some things that happen every year. And for example, and this was a maximum effort idea. They were like, look, every single year, Bobby Bonilla Day comes up. If you're a New York baseball person, you know Bobby Bonilla had the greatest contract ever written in baseball. 25 years after he plays baseball, finishes, retires, he gets paid. So George and the Max E team come to me and they go, look, we think this conversation happens every year. We're like, yeah, I agree. It does. I'm a sports guy. I know that. So let's have some fun with that. Let's create, Mint Mobile doesn't have contracts, but just for shits and giggles, let's create a 25-year cellular plan and announce it as the Bobby Bonilla deal on Bobby Bonilla Day. So look, we had no right to be in that conversation until they made that sort of connective linkage. And it's my job then to make sure, one, we have a 25-year plan, we can sell it and service it and all this and that, and then make sure that the company's ready for that, where that idea is so good and so natural and so right, you can get Bobby to sign up for something like that, and you can bring this to a conversation that's already happening, and you end up having one of the most successful days in the brand history, where we thought, like, we had some side bets going, right? Everybody was thinking like 1, maybe 2 plans will get sold. We almost sold 150 of these things. And that was never the intent. It was always just intended to be fun marketing, which it crushed on. Yet there was this commercial aspect to it that we never expected that was fantastic.
So speaking of fun marketing, we're into Super Bowl season already. I know Mint several years ago, I think before Ryan got involved, actually bought an actual Super Bowl ad. But since then, the last few years, you guys have kind of been more about crashing the game, running print ads, talking about how much money you're saving by not doing a Super Bowl ad, and then passing those savings along to your consumers. I think last year you actually did an ad, but it was a pregame ad. And it was about recycling an ad. And the twist was you ran an old ad, but it was upside down. So what have you guys got going for the game this season?
Well,
it's December. Like, talk to us in January 28th or like whenever. Like,
it's February 3rd. It's February 12th, George. We'll be in February when we start that brainstorm.
I got it, but still, anything? Is it on the table?
I would say this. A brand is a brand as disruptive as ours, and a brand that's centered on value, you're going to have lots of opportunities to showcase how we do things differently than everybody else in the marketplace. And I think, Super Bowl is a stage and a place where you can be a bit hyperbolic and you can go out there and push. So I think it would be a shame to not have anything slotted for that time, but nothing official to report.
Okay, what is next? My last question. Can you give us any teases on what to look for in the next month?
I don't know. I mean, there'll definitely be something. What I'll say is, we really enjoy. You wish for an industry that works like wireless. I think we all. So all we really do is kind of take the standard behaviors of wireless companies that we've all come to accept as like perfectly normal, and we kind of trying to point at them, saying like, "Hey, why are we acting this way?" So we'll continue to do that. Is all I'll say is in January.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you both. Thanks to Aron North, CMO of Mint Mobile, and George Dewey, co-founder and marketing agency of Maximum Effort. This is EJ Schultz, news editor at Ad Age. Thanks everyone for tuning in today.
Thank you.